Pete? Check. Can you hear me? Before everyone has a seat, if you could all rise for a moment of silence in memory of former Supervisor Harley Doles. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting of July 9th to the town of Monroe to order. For informational purposes, there's also a purple and white bunting that has been hung above the entrance to Town Hall, and flags were flown at half-staff today. Okay. Need approval of the May 21st, 2018 Town Board minutes.
I'd like to make the motion for approval.
I'll second.
Any other discussion, changes, revisions? Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. We need approval for the June 18th, 2018 minutes.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any other changes, adjustments, revisions? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Under old business, Brian, any update on the Lakeside LoSAP program?
I believe we have a resolution before the board for tonight.
Good.
Should have. Should be in your packets.
Yes, yeah. There it is. Yeah, I got it. Hey, Brian, do you need a hard copy? Because I have your hard copy. Tonight's agenda and stuff. You need a hard copy or not?
No, I have. The agenda?
Well, in the paperwork.
No, I have it.
Okay.
I got hard copy, electronic copy, got it all.
All right. Okay. So essentially, the resolution,
Yeah, Supervisor, just for the board's benefit, in a nutshell, this is a resolution to abolish the Monroe Lakeside Fire and Rescue Company Defined Benefit Service Award Program, otherwise known as a LoSAP. As we previously discussed, there are calculations by the actuary that have to be done by Hometown Fire Services, which is the company that administers this. But this resolution is to commence the process. As I had previously advised the board, this needs to go on the November ballot, be a referendum to be voted on, since that's the manner in which the LoSAP was established. So this resolution essentially makes the board's resolution to abolish the program and to place the ballot language on the next general election ballot in November.
okay.
A point of order? I can't hear the speaker.
Can you turn that up, George? Can you amp it up?
Check. Is that better?
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
Hello.
Check.
It's good.
Very good. Can you hear me now? Any better?
Okay.
Is anybody else having a problem hearing?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's much audio.
All right.
What'd you say?
Not you.
He always has a problem here.
It started when I was a child.
Check 1, 2. Hello?
Okay.
That better?
Okay.
You like my comment?
All right. I can hear that now.
I can't hear you.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve abolishing the Monroe Lakeside Fire and Rescue Company and placing it on the ballot for a vote in November.
I'll make the motion
Just-
as a resolution to abolish the Monroe Lakeside Fire and Rescue Company, what is it?
Defined-
Benefit package, defined
Defined
as
Benefit Service
LoSAP.
Award Program.
Right, to be placed on the ballot this November.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, Mike? that's all?
No, I just was given the...
A little bit of direction there.
Little, yeah, because you said abolish the fire company.
No,
No,
just
I know.
LoSAP
And
horizon.
then, that's why I added that in for Councilman Cologne, so he...
No, we better not
clears to
abolish
that.
that fire department. Very good.
It just, it will save the town somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 to $2,000 a year, and the members will get their benefit. It's not like they're gonna be losing any dollars from it.
And they're currently enrolled in the new program.
Right, any members that are still active are currently enrolled in the new program.
Now, does
Will
their
be, will
does
be.
their time roll over? Or do they
They are.
start anew?
They currently are.
Any active member
I
is
believe
enrolled.
that- Go ahead, Darren.
Any active member in the Monroe Joint Fire District is enrolled in the new LoSAP program that was formed when the district was formed in 2010. So this program ended, and they don't contribute any more service credits to it. So their service credits stopped in 2010 for this program, so whatever they're at, that's the money they're entitled to.
Right. I had a question from a retired Lakeside member. If they get a lump sum, he's a little concerned that he might lose his star because of the income limits. So if we can reach out to, I don't know if it would be the actuaries that are going to do this or some accounting person, that we can answer that question specifically, because I did reach out to the assessor's office, and she said if there is a possibility, if they got enough of a lump sum payment, it would be counted as income. So we want to make sure that that does not happen, that somehow it's converted to another retirement benefit,
Would that-
annuity or something like that is a possibility.
I don't believe so, based on the meeting I had with the gentleman from Hometown Fire. I don't think they can transfer it over anywhere.
I have a question, and do you think at that point, would that be an issue for the county legislature to take up and vote on, so they don't get taxed on, or the state?
That's not my purview.
Does anybody know anything on that? Anybody?
Whether the county could, in other words, structure it so they don't?
Yeah.
I don't know that the county alone would have the ability to do that. I mean, I know there were requests to also not pay this out all at once, so, for tax impact purposes, but we could look at those questions. I mean, we have time because this program is going to remain in effect either way until December 31st of this year.
Yeah, probably to break it up in a two-payment part, 1 year and then the next, and that'll probably take care of that.
Yeah, as to Councilwoman Bingham's question, that's a little more specific, but we can see if we can get an answer for that situation.
Yeah, because I think that would help some of the members who are interested in voting on this vote yes or no. So I hope we can research that and get that answer to them.
Okay.
Hey, Mary Ellen, as a tax collector, would a one-time annuity payment that bumped up someone's yearly income, would that knock them out of Star, a senior citizen?
I'm the tax collector, that's an April question.
Oh, okay.
It all comes into how much money they make, not only what they would be getting,
Right.
the lump sum, but what their
Yeah.
income is.
What their
so
current
their
What the
other
limits
income
are.
is. The Village of Monroe and the Village of Harriman have done this with their programs, so maybe we could ask them a few questions on how they paid out to their members.
Mary Ellen,
Was
would
it one
you,
lump sum, or was it, I'm not familiar with how they paid it out, but it was brought to a vote on a ballot in the Village of Monroe for for Monbassia and for Harriman Engine Company, number one, it was brought to a vote. So theirs have already been closed out.
Mary Ellen, can I ask you to reach out to the village and find out what they did specifically?
I'll ask both how they did their payouts.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, Ski Delight Water Ski Park event. Is the applicant here? No. Okay, so essentially, Ski Delights has filled out an application, which is currently in Emery Morris's hands. She's waiting for a certificate of insurance that has the full dates of the event on it. A $300 check was submitted with the application. He needs to fulfill the $500 requirement. He is aware that there's a $100 user fee, and there's also a peddler's fee, or is she classifying the $100 as the...
No, this would be a separate thing that, last year when he held the event, he had to come to me. If they're gonna sell food at this event, which they did last year, by town code, they have to get a peddler's permit from me, where they would be getting their Orange County Certificate of Board, from the Board of Health. Last year, they brought it right down to the wire, so I'm asking who's ever in contact with this gentleman, I already said it to him once, that he's aware that he has to take care of this, not at the last minute.
Okay. Okay, so we would need a resolution based on some of the requirements that need to be fulfilled prior to issuing the permit. The dates for the ski event are July 25th through the 29th. That's a Wednesday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it would be conditioned upon receipt of the $100 user fee, the $500 refundable security deposit, and a correct certificate of insurance. And essentially what he's going to be doing is the O&R property parking area, using that for overflow parking, and he will clean up the parking area after the event, and he will also need to apply for a peddler's fee. So, I mean, I'll make that motion for approval, and I would like all these items in our hands completed by next Tuesday, which is the 17th. That's, yeah, July 17th. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second that for you.
Any other discussion,
This
questions?
this is not his first time, so he should really be familiar with it. It shouldn't be a big deal.
He got all his applications and everything, insurance in last year.
Yeah.
He just waited till the last minute
Yeah.
Well, only on that one issue, but...
on the insurance.
Yeah, and he cleaned up very well afterwards, and it ran well, so I don't believe there's going to be an issue.
Yeah, okay. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, the chai, the Bike for Chai was held last weekend, last Saturday. I'm sorry, Sunday, I think it was. And it was, as Emery Morris stated, it was an extremely professionally run event, and they crossed all their T's, dotted all their I's. They were here about 6:30. They set up porta-johns. They had, areas that were barricaded off. They left about 11:30. Everything was cleaned up. They used blowers to go through the entire parking area on Monbassia. And they brought their own garbage bags, their own cans, and they did not utilize our dumpster. And then after the event, they actually donated the extra food they had to our senior center. So they also brought boxes of food to Our Father's Kitchen at Sacred Heart. A very nice and kind gesture. So we would need a motion to process their $500 refundable security deposit.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
Was this a first time event?
No, they did this last year as well. And I'm sorry, it was on Tuesday, July 3rd.
That's great.
All right. We have two quotes here. Next item is the HVAC repair for the Monroe Theater. We have two quotes here, and I'll let Councilman McGinn discuss the quotes we have here.
All right, I think basically in looking over the two quotes, there's, basically one of the contractors, is basically doubling the capacity, and there wasn't an RFP that went out saying we want this, this, and this. Both contractors came in, they looked at what the situation was, what needed to be done, which was basically running AC to the projector rooms, because the digital projectors, from what I understand, are internally record that they are overheating, and it could cause a problem with the warranty and stuff like that. So the two air conditioning companies had different ways of how they approached it. With one, obviously with the higher bid, that was kind of doubling the cooling capacity that the other contractor had. So Mr. Supervisor, I think what we should do at this point is, I think we should table this to the next meeting and speak to 914, which was the one that had the larger bid, but also doubling the capacity, and just kind of ascertain what why they're doing that, and is that for all 6 rooms? I think, all 6 projection rooms, and kind of get a little clarification on that.
My only concern with doubling, with waiting, is that we only have the next meeting in August. And it's going to kill a lot of the time where it's going to be hot there.
All right, well, if that's the case, then what I would do is have you or George meet with them and authorize you to sign a contract with the one that is provides, the reasoning for why they're doing that, and best fills, answers the needs of what we need to do there.
It's only 3 rooms, right? 1, 2, and 3 projectors.
Right, but I'm just,
Not upstairs.
all right.
Okay.
Like I said, clearly, C.R. Wolf comes in, clearly less. But the other one, the other contractor is doubling the capacity, and I guess the question is why is that?
So, Brian, can we somehow, because of the time frame here, authorize, we'll pass a resolution, which we can, after explanation of the two, make a determination via email with the board? Would we be allowed to do that?
I think you can have the board authorize you to execute an agreement with one or the other, with a condition that the board first be emailed and be given a period to express an objection, which would put it back on an agenda, or if
Okay.
the explanation is satisfactory, you could go ahead and authorize the signature, and be authorized to sign it, rather.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
As long as we can authorize it, so, in other words, if they give you a credible explanation to whatever your determination would be, then we'll back you on that 100%. Because if we have to wait that long in this heat.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just back you on that and leave it up to you, because I'm sure you're gonna.
All right, so based on what the attorney said, I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with the contractor that provides the best explanation for why they're doing what they're doing, and but prior to emailing the board first.
Okay.
I'll second that.
You want to go?
Any other
The board
discussion?
members?
Yeah, emailing the board members for their approval prior to
No,
this.
no, for approval,
you don't-
only to indicate an objection.
Indicated objection, I'm sorry. Is that kind of clear?
Yeah. That's okay.
Clear as mud.
Mary Ellen, you got that?
So you only want emails from someone who's,
Objection.
Objections.
I would suggest that there's an objection, it goes back on the next agenda if a board member objects to whatever agreement is being proposed to be signed.
Okay. All right, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again,
Again,
aye.
Okay. Mary, you want to go over the Water District 10 request?
It's very complicated.
As always?
As always. Has to do with, we understand people are in a rush. It's getting to be not only this district, but other districts that seem to want parcels to enter into a water district. I reached out to our attorney, Brian Nugent. I also reached out to McGooey Hauser Etzel. We can do it as an outside users agreement temporarily, just to get them into the district, and later on, we can make a determination if we're actually going to include them in a district. I did send Mr. Nugent an email earlier this evening. I don't think he's had a chance to look at it, because I had questions regarding SECRA, and, you know, one of the districts gets their water from the Village of Monroe. I don't want to step on their toes. I want to make sure we follow the proper procedure, so I'm going to ask Mr. Nugent if he's had a chance to look at my email and have any comments.
I haven't, but I could certainly review that and get back to the board, you know, with our opinion on it. So you're looking to essentially do out-of-district user agreements?
Like an outside user agreement, yes. And that would make it easier for the people to get into the water district and have some water. Because otherwise we'd have to possibly do SECRA, we'd possibly have to change a map, and we'd have to do all those other steps, which could complicate matters and could take a couple of months.
And we still have our fee discussion, right?
And we still have a fee discussion, yes.
Okay.
The only fees that are defined are the actual
Tapping fees.
fees.
Right.
And I had a brief conversation with the applicant, and they were going to a 3/4 inch line that we're going to tap into, which is $325 tapping fee.
On top of that, I had spoken with John Sherney, and the Highway Department doesn't actually do the tapping. That's an outside, they'd have to contact an outside contractor, and that could possibly be like $1,000 that the,
Roughly, yeah.
you know, the applicant or the parcel owner would that also have to spend. So these fees are adding up and adding up, and like I said, it's getting very complicated. It's not a quick and easy, we'll just let them into the district. We do want people to have access to it, but we just have to clear up some of these questions first.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that the town doesn't really have a structure for out-of-district users or adding parcels to a district or any fees, you know, or fee schedule in that regard. So those are things that we need to address, because if you're going to have one person do it, you don't want to have an ad hoc system where you're just deciding, you know, a fee for one person, but rather should establish a uniform fee schedule for that kind of situation.
What are we saying here, Mary, that we're going to approve them to become part of the district?
As an outside user?
Well, we need to have our attorney come up with an outside users agreement. If we could make a resolution to have him work on that. And then the fees, right now, we only have the tapping fees.
$225 for that. Another $250 for a curb cut fee for me if he's got to go into the road.
Right.
You know, things of that nature. But that's something he can take care of at the highway garage. You just need to
Right.
approve, I guess, him from actually going into the roadway and tapping into that line.
Right, and there might be a debt service charge, which could be added also, and a possible surcharge, because since they're an outside user, we could theoretically charge them extra for the water. But Water District 10 is complicated because they get their water from the Village of Monroe.
Yes, they do, and they do have a metered pit actually before where that water line would go, so, you know, you're metered for whatever the case might be.
Right.
You know what we're using from the village.
Right, so we want to make sure that we are in compliance with what the Village of Monroe also has to do.
Well, I actually spoke to the mayor, and he said, it's your water district, okay, and an applicant, it's not on them,
Okay.
it's on us.
Because their
I'll
wells are...
get that in writing from them.
Okay. All right, if we get that in writing, that would make Mr. Nugent's job a lot easier.
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
if we could possibly, help me phrase this, make a motion for our attorney to draft an outside users agreement to allow Saga, I hope I'm saying that
Yeah,
right?
Saga
Saga to come into Water District 10.
But it's an outside user?
Yes.
Or in the district?
You have to come up to the microphone, sir.
State your name.
Or Midbo, here for the Water District 10, but it's an we're not, are we considered an outside user? We're in the district.
Have you been paying off that
No,
bond?
we haven't paid nothing yet.
Right, so,
I think what she's saying is you're an outside user until the determination is made of what portion of
All right,
the improvements you would be charged for.
got it.
Yeah, we can work on the language. There's an outside district user, and then there could be someone who's a, so to speak, new user, even if they're
Well, it's-
located in the district,
Like I
but
said,
a new
it's been a
connection.
vacant lot
Right.
for years.
What's
And
that?
now it's been a vacant lot for years.
Right.
Right. Open the house up.
So the lot is in the district. So
Right, the
basically
right,
be,
the lot is in the district.
maybe a new user agreement. I mean, we can work on the name of it, but
okay, so we'll just say a user agreement.
yeah, user agreement is fine.
Okay, not outside, but a
Right,
user
like I said,
agreement.
It's been a vacant lot for years, and then that's just
Right.
put a house on it now, and,
And you haven't been paying anything on that bond? Okay, all right, because that would be on your property taxes. Okay, all right. So if, I would make the motion that we authorize our attorney to work on a user agreement to allow Saga Construction into Water District 10.
May I make a suggestion that we just authorize us to draft a user agreement for new users to the water district in general? And then, in other words, we can provide that agreement. We should establish, in other words, an agreement for the town since you don't have one. So maybe to authorize us to draft the user agreement and then specifically to draft one for this individual.
Yes, then we
So-
would need two.
2 users?
No, two
No,
agreements.
two
she's saying.
agreements,
Yeah,
right. One kind of like a boilerplate for
Generic, yeah.
future,
exactly.
and one specifically for this applicant.
Okay.
And then we have the we would just go by the tapping fees, and we would have to determine, as I said, there was a bond out there
Right.
paid for work that was done on the district. You would be allocated a prorated portion
Okay.
of whatever that was. I think they originally paid like almost like 19,000, was
It was
18,800?
Over 18,000, and it was a 15-year bond
Yeah,
per parcel.
Right.
yeah, so we want to verify that you did not pay that on your property taxes.
No, I'm sure I wasn't.
Okay. Guess what you're going to pay now?
Wrong answer,
That's it. So, but, all right,
all right?
sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, so I have the motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Cologne. Any other questions? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Again,
Okay. So while we're on that, I had another applicant come in today for Water District 14, which currently is technically not a water district in totality. Did you want to come up, Anna? Okay, Anna and Jose, both these can come up. This is Anna and Jose Posada.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just state your names and where you live.
Okay, I'm Ana Posada.
Jose Posada.
We live in, well, actually, we're selling our house in 22 Center Hill Road.
Okay.
We requesting you guys to observe our application because we are in the process to sell our house. We have a well for many years, for 23 years we live there. We have a well. Now that the house is for sale, it came, the potential buyers, they studied the water and it came with radon. They have 2 children and they're hesitated. They love the house, but they said we have to remediate the problem. The problem is that the FHA mortgage, we need to fix the problem before they sell. Also, we are,
Right, the person that we contacted, the person that we contacted for the remediation, he said that he doesn't guarantee the work. He actually recommended that it was easier to tap into the town water. The other issue that we have is that the potential buyers, they have the mortgage approved, but I think a month ago, they had another house and they couldn't get into the contract in that house, so they are in a kind of rush. We got an email from a phone call from our broker. The broker of the potential buyers are asking for if it's possible to get like a kind of written approval or from the board that is possible to get into the water so we can get into the contract before the commitment with the bank expires.
So essentially what you're looking for from us is a approval that we will look into, or we will hope approve in the future,
Right.
them tapping into the water.
Right.
And that would suit FHA, I would assume?
Yeah,
That's what they are looking for.
They're looking for that document. I know the potential buyers, they request a meeting for August, but we didn't know the status of the water will come this way. Everything was fine, and so that's the only issue for us. And we are afraid because we live in this 22 Central Hill Road. It's a flat area. We have many people, potential buyers, but they back up when they notice that it's insurance. They have a flood insurance. These buyers, they love the house, but now.
All right, so at this point, what you're looking for from us is an approval to get into the water district. Okay, we cannot do that overnight, but what we can do is start the process, and then we'll get them approved. If they're expecting approval in 2 to 3 weeks, that's not going to be possible, but we'll move on it as quickly as possible for you and the buyers.
Okay. Question quick. Is it possible a letter that is going in the process, like?
Let me defer to council on that. I don't.
Well, I mean, it depends on what the letter says. We can say that they came before the board and that the board is reviewing a request and, we'll make a determination. I'm not sure you can say much more than that at this point, but that would at least tell them that you were here and that it's been submitted and it's under consideration.
I think it will be great because then we can start the process of the signing and all that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right.
No problem. Hey, can I just ask a quick question? Now, like your next door neighbors, are they on?
The Soros are connected to the town water, but at that time when they requested, we had well, so we didn't even.
All right, so you decided not to at that
Not to
point,
do it.
and you haven't had any problems with your well. Everything's fine.
The smell of sulfur, that potential buyers didn't like it, so that's why they went to
All right, well,
for
the only thing is, Mr. Nugent, if we give them any kind of a letter saying that they were before the board, I guess we would have to make it very clear that there will be additional fees for joining the water district, correct?
Correct. We know that.
Okay, as long as they know that.
Yeah,
I don't want
they
any
should know
surprises
that
on
too.
it.
That they're
We're
gonna.
in charge,
Yeah,
actually, we
yeah.
have to do it before.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right.
Really,
All right.
really.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
So I have to make a motion
Yes.
to allow our attorney, Mr. Nugent, to draft a letter for the supervisor to sign stating that we are looking into the matter of having that parcel come into Water District 14.
Correct.
Correct.
That's my motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion or questions? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay. So moved. Councilman Cologne has, and I agree with him, has requested that we go into a brief executive session to discuss contract prior to the next item. So I'm going to make a motion that we go in there to discuss legal.
I'll second it.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session and back into our regular session.
I'll second that motion.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, so item 3.6 is the refuse and recycle RFP. And I'll turn it over to Councilman Tomm.
All right, thank you, Supervisor. We have had 2 responses to the RFP that was put out for the request for proposal for the garbage contract and recycling in the town of Monroe. Of the 2, one was for county waste and the second was for Morangi. It was a 5-year contract, and long story short, the gist of the pricing breakdown is as follows. Morangi on the price per home for the first year was $24.75 for the first year.
No.
Second alternative?
No, that's county waste.
I'm sorry.
This is-
I apologize, county. I apologize, county waste. County for the first year was $25.75 for the first year. The second year was $25.25 for the second.
24.75.
$24.75 for the first year per home. $25.25 the second year per home. $25.75 for the third. $26.26 for the fourth year, and $26.79 for the final and fifth year. Morangi, their bid came in, or their proposed bid for this, for the first year was $22.95 for the first year per home, $22.95 for the second year, $23.4 for the third, $23.88 for the fourth year, and $24.36 for the fifth year. At that point, Morangi was in fact the lowest proposed bid for this, and projected to be really the best value overall. So it is my recommendation that the town board vote in favor of having Morangi Refuge removed as be awarded this bid.
We making a motion?
So I'll make that motion if somebody will second it.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion at this point?
Any discussion?
I just know they've done a great job in the past. They've been our hauler for a number of years, and I've never really heard any real complaints. And Highway does the refuse report, and that's always a minimal amount of complaints. So I'm very happy with their service.
Anybody else?
I could just add for the motion that it be subject to submission of any required forms or contract in a form satisfactory to the town attorney.
Well, there will be a performance bond that will have to be, of course, be submitted for this as well, and that was in the proposal. But they're going to have to provide all the insurances and everything else that was part of the package.
Okay.
You want to, all right, call the question then?
Well, no, yeah, I seconded it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Begin, aye.
Okay, so moved. Public comment. Do you have a list?
Dan Burke.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Dan Herc, elder statesman.
Speak into the mic.
Okay, yes, okay. Can you hear me?
There you go.
I don't want anybody standing up complain they can't hear me. But good evening. It's a sad world without Harley in it for me personally, and but I'm going to save my eulogy for the memorial service, and I'm sure you all feel the same. The layout here, we have this dance floor behind us. I imagine the chairs are back there in order to protect it, so the audience is like 30 feet back, and it's very difficult to hear what you're saying, and you say some important things. So, and there's only about a dozen or 15 people here. We lay out the chairs over here. They could be facing the dais and hear everything you say, and it would be a more intimate setting, and you know, it would help me. You know, somebody had one of the citizens had suggested considering opening 4 and 5, and there was a question of the cost for it. probably you would need a new screen and a digital projector. You have to spend about $50,000 on that. But you figure out the depreciation over years, and that might be down to about $4,000 a year. And then if you want to see the revenue, you could look at the 3 screens you already have, how much they're bringing in, and divide it by 3, and see if you can project that, if that's what the 4th screen would bring in. And that might be about $14,000, $15,000 a month. So it would be very helpful if you actually get those numbers closely, put them down on paper, have the auditor or your new financial person look at it, and put them out to the public, let the public take a look too. What else I wanted to say? I want to say a kind word for Peter Martin. He was very helpful to me and to the town over the years. He really put in the hours. He'd be here, would break up till midnight, on meetings. It'll be a new era. You'll have a new person, but I just want to say that I found him very well informed and very helpful and a workhorse. That 14D, you can add a new household to that. Fine, that they need financial help. And so that's actually would be a positive. And if you ever can get that Biagini development tied into 14 and let them pay for water from those wells, that would also be very helpful. And I'm sure I'm sure Mary's looking at that especially, Oh yeah, I took a look at the, what George is doing upstairs, and there's a lot of activity there. He had, it's something like 10 birthday parties, and I think they're $500 each, so that's pretty good. And they had the garden club, and so anything you can do to make that upstairs produce more money, the better off the town is going to be. All right. And then I'm looking at the dog licenses, and
Time's up. Go ahead, be quick.
Okay, well, real quick on it. The dog licenses are, you project them out. Nationally, they look at the number of homes in a town, and about half of them have dogs. So you talk to the assessor, you find out how many homes are in this town. 12,000? So there should be 6,000 dogs, or 10,000, 5,000 dogs. Well, we're only registering about 2,000. So there's an awful lot of unlicensed dogs out there. It would be worth looking at. It's a stream of revenue and also prevention of rabies. And thanks for the indulgence.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Ward Brower?
Sorry, George. Ward Brower, private citizens. When you have only a few speakers signed up, did have a rule in place for 20 years, 3 to 5 minutes. Give the people a break. Public concerns, where it's placed on the agenda. I see we have old business, then public concerns, then new business. So we don't get to comment on it. I'm curious what's this town code amendment, among other things. And also, the distance between the audience and the town board is vast, especially when you look at the fonts of this. This font's bigger than what's normally on there. Need binoculars, not to mention the sound effects. So if we could make some of those simple changes, it might help. And these meetings have not been packed since the beginning of the year. So give the citizens a little break. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Anyone else want to speak?
Evening. Chris Harrison, County Waste.
Oh, hey, Chris.
How are you?
Spoke to you on the phone.
Just here tonight, just to clarify, we sent a letter to the board in clarification if it was once a week or twice a week collection, as there was stated 2 different things in the RFP and never got a response. So we'd like to hear what.
All right, can I respond to that?
Sure, go ahead.
Chris, during the week, The last time I had to leave a message and you returned my call. 3 weeks before that, I did leave another message, a voicemail on your phone, correct? Because when I spoke to you, you said, oh yeah, I got him.
Not
You
in
told me that
regards-
Thursday on the phone, you said I got him.
So when I
Because
talked,
I said to you, did you get my messages I left on your phone? You said, yeah, I got it.
not in regard, I never.
That's what you told me on the phone.
I'll let you finish.
Please.
So in regards to we sent the formal letter,
Okay.
and we also got emails that were sent to you as
So-
well. And I never reached out to you in regards to whether it was once a week or twice a week. So when I talked to you Friday was the first time. I actually called Mary Ellen Thursday after the RFP was done. And that's when you called me Thursday.
No, I didn't say I spoke to you. I didn't say you reached out to me.
Right.
That email was sent to the board members and I had called and left a message on your phone. I thought I was clear. No, I thought I was clear on what I had left. So if the confusion was do we pick up the garbage twice a week and the recycles once, or pick up the recycles twice and the garbage once, then if you're either way, if you're only picking up the garbage once, then that means we have to double the price of what your bid was anyway, so you're still out.
So we're just looking for clarification because again, it says two different things in the RFP.
Well,
And when we sent the formal.
Can you tell me what
request-
page it says two different things?
Yep.
Supervisor, if I may, I don't, and I didn't address this before, but at the end of the day, even if Morangi were unable to perform, our recommendation would be to, and we're not rejecting your bid, but the fact is that county waste bid was contingent on a lot of contract changes, one of them being a rejection of the indemnification clause, and the law is clear that doing so is a non-responsive bid in any event. So if this bid were for some reason not carried out, we'd recommend that it be put out again anyway, not to defer to the next bidder in light of those conditions that were attached to the response.
Sure. Well, again, we're just looking for clarification because on page 24, on section SP5, the first sentence says right there, once a week. And then in the very beginning of the RFP, it said the collection will be twice a week. So when we had sent our letter out, we never got a response. Mr. Colon emailed our office on Sunday, July 1st. We responded on July 2nd as to the letter that we sent and still never got the response or an addendum. So again, we're simply just looking for the clarification and to have it on record.
With the rate, Chris, that your company submitted, was that based on once or twice a week?
That's twice a week collection.
That's twice a week, all right.
Yeah.
So even based on that, it was still higher
Sure.
than the bid by the other company.
We're not
And
disputing that.
No, just, and the other, the communication issue aside, and also the fact that the other company offered bulk pickup and some other, I don't want to say enticements, but other things that people in the town have become used to over the years.
My
You know what I mean?
understanding that bulk pickup was also included in this, so that's ours is bulk pickup as well.
No, the award that Morangi had put out didn't just meet the minimal guidelines or the guidelines, they exceeded it by saying they would bulk pick up year-round instead of just, and we didn't require that, we didn't ask that of anybody. I'm just trying to be fair. And not only we're in the back, but we have been discussing that since, the board members, I've been calling them in contact with everybody on this board as well, going over to make sure that we pick the best, not just the lowest price, but the best value for, the people in the town. That does not, I'm not trying to make any insinuations against your company. You have a large company and it's very reputable, and it's just they put in a better bid proposal. I don't know how they work their numbers, but they are going to have to live up to them, and we're going to make sure of that. So if they can't live up to the responsibility, yes, we would put out another one, and we do have a break clause in there for that. And
Again, we just wanted to see, or at least have it on record that it was asked and the response wasn't, so we were just looking to see, is it once a week, twice a week?
twice a week.
Twice.
Okay.
It was twice a week, and you said you bid it for twice a week anyway.
That's all we were looking for.
All right, so you were still in the ballpark anyway. for
Yeah.
that.
Appreciate the time.
All right,
No,
thank you very much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Can I respond to some of those?
Yeah,
Couple?
sure.
Okay. Mr. Burke, dog licenses. We have, our county clerk is going to be looking into doing,
Albert.
excuse me, yes, town clerk. Give her promotion.
Job's open, baby.
What other towns are doing as far as enumeration, we are working on that. We realize that probably not everybody has their dog licensed, which is important regards to rabies, and should your dog get lost or something happen to it, it's very important that it be vaccinated. We do have animals that can still come down with rabies. It's still a disease that's out there, but we are looking into finding out exactly how many dogs are out there. Movie theater, yeah, we're looking at that as well. I do see your point about the space with the seating. We'll possibly address that and find out the reasons why it's been set up this way, since the turnout has not been as large as in years past. So maybe we can change the seating. We'll look into that. One other thing, it wasn't on public comments, but I do want to say we have the water hotline. It's been so successful. We've gotten calls from places that are not even the town of Monroe.
Prospect Place.
So I do have to give a lot of credit to John answering the phone call at 1 in the morning. Came from a person who had a Monroe mailing address, but it came from Blooming Grove. So before anybody calls, please check your water bill. We are only doing the outside town. We are not doing everybody's water. So just a FYI. Thank you.
But you will listen to their complaint anyway.
Yeah, we did. We
All right,
did.
just check.
We did.
John was up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
My phone beeped and I called back. So.
Party animal.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, having been involved with the water districts, before, the newly formed water department has been outstanding. I mean, as far as responsiveness and it's getting that call. It's always nice to know that someone's fielding it and it's being taken care of. So
that's what we're here for, right?
Good. Yep. Well, good work. We
Get it
appreciate
done.
it.
Get it done. Done, Mary?
Yes.
Rick?
About the seating, since the beginning of the year, there's been a remarkable change in the demeanor and the quorum, not only of the meetings and how business is conducted at this end, but as well as the other end of the dais as well. Because we don't have such a turnout as before, I'm kind of sad about that. In one way, at least they're not as hostile. But since we no longer have torches and pitchforks at the meeting, we did move it back in the interest of space. But because it was closer to the mic and to the dais, people were always making side comments and disrupting the board from there. So, the board will look into that issue. As far as dog licenses go, of course, we support the fact that people should have their dogs licensed so they know where Rover can go back home in case they get caught. We don't want to hold them overnight. So we'll look into that matter, but we can't make it a complete police state. This town works on the cooperation of the residents of this town. This board works because we listen not only to the town residents, we work with the town residents, and we try to be as responsive as we possibly can, to the town residents. All of us here are part of this town. All of us makes this town work. So if you have a dog and it's unlicensed, of course we ask that you have the animal licensed for everybody else's public safety. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. The chairs set up this way are a result of my wife's meal tonight. She made me pasta with garlic, and I wanted people far enough away so you didn't have to smell my breath.
Right.
But in all seriousness, it is, you know, it was something that I had asked Webster to do tonight, and it's my, you know, I'll take the heat for it. You know, I'll have them move it closer next meeting. I have no problem with that. One of the speakers commented that in years past, for many years, there was a 3 to 5 minute speaking time for the speakers at every meeting. That's completely false. I wish your facts would get straight, because there was a period of time while there was only one meeting a month where you were allowed to speak, and that went on for years. And we enhanced that, so if you look at it that we're giving you 3 minutes 2 times a month, you get 6 minutes, and you're looking at the tops 5 minutes at one meeting, we're giving you a minute more. So I think we got to move past these, you know, minuscule items, especially since you only took a minute of your 3 minutes. So it you know, it really didn't matter, and that's basically all I have to say.
As far as the chairs moving back, from when I first came here to this board, the chairs were here. But there was so much commotion, and Supervisor Cardone a few times had to ask people to please be quiet. Maybe that's why they're back a little further. And as far as the movie theater, I know George is doing a lot of work to the second and third floors. He's doing a great job with the kids' parties, and it's just the beginning. We're going to keep doing good things there, Dan.
Regarding the unlicensed dogs, I know Woodbury does a remuneration, and perhaps we can touch base with them how they conduct it, so it's not.
She's already on board doing it.
Oh, you're already doing it?
Yeah, it's the responsibility of the town clerk, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
And,
Well, I'm sorry.
Already looked into it, and I'm going to be doing a enumeration by mail.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so
All right.
we will be doing it.
Yeah. Again, I think to kind of dovetail off of what Rick said, is we don't want to be invasive and people going and knocking on doors. You know, where are your dogs? You know, bring out the dogs. So
Give up
we
the
don't want
dog.
that. You know. Mr. Brower, you had commented about the public comment being in the middle of the old and the new business. You know, we try to, you know, we can't have it both ways. You know, we don't want to wait to the end and then have people have to sit here through this and then executive session and all that. So I think it's a reasonable place to put it in the middle. Those items are always there, and people can comment them at the next meeting or research them and comment on them when they come up to the mic. So it's one of these things where we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Last time we went into executive session early and people complained about it. Well, I shouldn't say people. 2 people complained about it, and kind of, you know, caused us to be a little testy about it. So, anyway, we'll keep on changing things around as we see fit to kind of make sure everyone gets their say. And, you know, there was no cutoff. You know, Mr. Burke was talking. He went over his 3 minutes. Wasn't like we, you know, gagged him and dragged him away from the mic or anything. He got to finish his statement. So that's, you know, again, I think it's very reasonable, that 3 to 5 minute time that has been fixed for each person.
We have 3 minutes, Mike.
Okay.
You're over time.
Well, I'm just saying.
All right.
Someone goes over. That's all I got.
Okay. Next item, on Bayshore Park Soccer Field, the Monroe United Soccer League has agreed to donate goods and services to our town in order to improve the conditions of the field. They want to essentially aerate, overseed, adding additional topsoil. They will provide a water truck on site, as our sprinklers are probably 80% ready to go. We did find a leak in one of these sprinklers in the center of the field. They have a professional landscaper that'll be working with Emery Morris and the league in order to improve the field. And On a side note, Anne Marie had said that John Sherney, Bill Pete, and Tor have been digging up parts of the line where they detected the leak, and Jimmy Ebner has been on site with the pump houses and the lines that leak. So hopefully it's almost to fruition where it's going to be back to where it should be. So essentially what we need is I'll make a motion to approve the MW United Soccer League donate goods and services to the town in order to improve the conditions of the soccer field, provide the recommended insurance, the needed insurance, and work with Anne Marie Morris in order to see that it's done correctly.
I'll second that.
For discussion?
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't costing the town anything.
No.
Correct.
All right. And is this going to take the field out of play for the fall, do you know?
No.
It won't?
I don't believe it is.
All right. Okay. Well, listen, it's a win-win for us then.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That field used to be beautiful. It was sod when it started. Obviously, it's gone downhill. But if the soccer club is willing to sink the money into it to bring it back up again, then I'm all for it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Next item, the boathouse guest policy. The recommendation, which we need a motion for, is to charge a $5 guest fee in addition to the rental price per guest. It's an effort to increase revenue, and consideration should be given to allow non-residents the opportunity to rent at the boathouse. Monroe residents will always be given preferential treatment, and Anne Marie has said that if this does get approved, that most likely on Saturdays and Sundays, there will not be non-residents using it because it's been that busy.
Yeah, that was my concern. Parking there is rather limited, and if we do make it open to everybody, then I think that's going to exacerbate the problem there. So I do have some, if it's only Monday through Friday, that's one thing, but you're saying it's not going to be a policy on the weekends?
It will be a policy,
There will be a policy on the weekends,
not on the weekdays.
not on the weekends. Well, no.
Wait.
It will be a
You
policy.
allow guests on Monday through Friday?
Correct.
But not on the weekends?
No, unless it is extremely slow and none of the boats are out. Let's say it's overcast or it's drizzling and we're still open and someone wants to go out and nobody's renting them, then she will allow it. But for the most part, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, I'm in favor of that. I just don't want that parking to be exacerbated over there. It's too tight as it
It was
is.
filled up the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's very tight,
Yeah, it's very busy.
Which is good to see, positive that it was
Right.
so busy.
but we don't want accidents out on Lakes
No.
Road.
Yep. Okay, so I'll make the motion to charge guest fee of $5 per guest on Monday through Friday, and the exception on the weekends would be that we would rent to a non-Monroe resident if the boathouse is not as busy as it would be on a weekend.
75% capacity? Not as busy, that's rather vague. Can we,
Well, you're not going to be able
Well,
to say that. They'll make that determination at the boathouse. Just leave it up to them. I have great faith.
okay, as to be determined by the boathouse
Yeah,
employees?
at the discretion of,
At the discretion of them.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Scancarello. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, dial-a-bus, and Council, I don't believe you had this report. There's a safety report that was given to me by Dial-a-Bus, the Town of Monroe's system safety program plan for small buses. I've read a portion of it. I have not completed it. Would you like a copy?
If it's the one that you attached, is it the same as the attachment on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I looked at it, the previous one, I don't know if there were any changes made, we've reviewed it before. I can certainly look at it if you would like, and give you our review before it's put into place.
Yep, okay.
You want to table
So
this?
No, I think it's got to get done, so I would
All right,
like
why don't you,
make a motion upon approval of
Yes.
town attorney, the supervisor can sign it.
I'll make that motion that upon Nugent's approval, the supervisor is allowed to sign the Dial-A-Bus Safety Program Plan.
Cologne, second.
So any other discussion? Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarella, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, the town hall summer hours. I made the recommendation, and Mary, as well as myself, had gone around to all the different departments, asking them for their take on it. And this would be for the people who are in the town hall over at Etzkayam. So for July, what we'd like to do is trial summer hours. So Monday through Thursday would be 8 to 5, and Fridays would be 8 to 12. That's for the month of July, starting next week. Going into August, we'd like to do 8 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and day off on Fridays. So that's what the proposal is. I'd like to make a motion to go forward with that.
I have a second for discussion. There was one other question I came up with.
Okay.
The cleaning personnel that come in to take care of Etzkayam, would they be then starting at a later time, or have you discussed this with them yet?
I did not discuss it with Pat. Obviously, Fridays would be, it wouldn't be a problem, but I could discuss it with them. But I will tell you that I left there today at 5:45, and they hadn't gotten there yet. So,
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know, sometimes I drive past and I know they're there and it's earlier than 6
yeah,
o'clock.
usually they get there about 4:30.
Yeah.
So if we got to push it back for July till 5, and then we'll discuss it with them.
Okay.
For,
As long as
for
you'll
August.
follow up on that, I have no objections.
Okay. And all the employees were in favor of it.
Yes.
And were very receptive to it.
Yes, they were.
So, and I will tell you that there's numerous towns out there in Orange County that do it, and from what I understand, Chester actually does it year-round. They basically work longer hours Monday through Thursday and are off on Fridays. Some of the residents I had called about, or spoke to about it, have said that it's great that you're open a little longer during the week, because I don't get home from work till 5:30. So it gives them the opportunity to stop in if there are any needs that they might have.
Like get a dog license.
It may be,
Yes.
it may be something for us to consider going into the year, because that's also savings. We're not opening up and running the town hall.
Yes.
So it's something that we can see how that works through August and possibly into September a little bit, and
Yeah, we'll see how it works. We'll
It's a
see what the
consideration.
employees prefer,
and what
what
the
the
town.
town residents prefer,
Hmm.
and, make a determination. But I think we should get this approved first, and then look at it
Okay.
afterwards.
I'm
Good
with
idea. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarella, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. So that will begin on July 16th, that week. Okay. Okay, before us, we have an accident investigation procedure that was developed, and we would need to approve it. There's also an injury illness report for employees on there, and an additional incident report, which would be for anyone who is injured, who has visited any one of our buildings or facilities.
And just to make sure that it always starts in the department where it happens, correct?
Yes, correct. And as long as council, I believe he has been sent these, and you have no issues with them?
Yeah, we have no issues. The forms are better to have something than nothing.
Yes, okay. All right.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the incident investigation procedures and incident report. Does that have to be signed by you at all, Supervisor?
By me?
Yeah, or,
It's basically signed by their direct supervisor, and then it's submitted to my office.
okay,
And then the incident report is essentially the same.
all right, so this is just to accept this form and this procedure.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my motion to accept the incident investigation procedure and report.
Yeah, the only one that's signed by me is the employee one.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Come on, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Town Code Amendment. Mary Ellen or John? I would get that. I know Mary Ellen has been working diligently, as has our interns that are there regarding records, and a few things have surfaced. Wow.
John doesn't even know.
Well, John doesn't know yet.
We found a lot of your roads, John.
Great.
Road dedications, we found a lot of them.
Well, that's good, right?
So we're going to type up the list this week. I'll give it to you, and that should, I have the dates they were deeded, and everything's there, the library pages that they were recorded, so.
Very good. CHIPS money coming, a little bit more, hopefully.
No.
Was that? I'm sorry.
CHIPS money's coming, that means, that's good, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Bring it on.
Okay. Anything else you want to say? Mary Ellen?
Nope, this is John's.
I don't have nothing in front of me, so which one are we going for here? You're going for your weight restrictions?
Finding more roads?
No.
No.
This is basically, well,
Yes,
these are
this was
roads.
the weight restrictions.
Yes, and then the weight restrictions are the second half of it, sorry.
Okay. So you guys basically are looking to get all these roads endorsed into our weight policies, which I was still kind of working on that a little bit. So there's two of them that are really important that has to get done, and that would be Forest Road,
Yeah,
and that would be Scunnamunk Road. And the reasons for that is we have traffic coming outside of Curious Joel going into the village of Monroe from both of those roads with large trucks, and basically would have to turn around where there's no place to turn around because the village is posted for certain weight restrictions and our roads are not. So it would be smart and for us to have a weight restriction on those two roads, and all these other roads that I have given you I would hold off on for a little while, because I'm still kind of working on that, because it's kind of difficult to put certain weight restrictions on some of these smaller roads that lead off of like School Road and stuff like that, because what if you're getting a delivery of stone or something to that effect for your house? So you can come up School Road, but you can't get on Carroll Drive. So I'm trying to work this into where it's going to work out for everybody. But the two major roads that we have to do this to would be Scunnamunk and Forest at this particular moment.
okay.
Okay, and that was the gross vehicle weight not to exceed 18,000 pounds.
So what are you saying? You want us to approve those two roads?
Yes, under the weight restrictions.
Okay.
Okay, and that would be not to exceed 18,000 pounds.
Just those two roads? And the
Just
others-
those two for now, until I still work on these other roads that I had a list of. I got a whole list of things together, but I was just, the more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense to do some of these roads that I had a list on. I'd rather do the two main roads right now. That's basically, if you have a tractor trailer going down Scunnamunk Road, he's gonna have to turn around on the village side, and there's no way to turn around. You know, so it's not a good idea to have a weight restriction on the village side and not have a weight restriction on the town side.
Okay.
You know, it's just not, it wouldn't behoove us at all.
John, would we be responsible for putting up the signage for that?
I would have to put up the signs for that. And listen, all reality, unless there was an accident on that road, I don't think the state police would actually even enforce that. State police enforce state laws.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to be there enforcing
local code,
a
yeah.
weight restriction from a town code, so to speak.
Right.
But if there was an accident or something like that, then of course the state police could probably, weights and measures could enforce that. But the
Right.
village enforces their end. So
Right.
that has nothing to do with us. But it just doesn't make no sense to have the village have a weight restriction to where a truck can't come up Scunnamunk Street, so to speak. And then, you know,
Can't make the turn.
can't make a turn or go down, you know, but then all of a sudden he can come down Scunnamunk Street and be on a weight restricted road when he gets into the village, you understand what I'm saying? So he's free and clear on the town section, and once he hits the village road, he's no longer, he's in
And that's only for a
violation.
couple of hundred feet.
Oh yeah, it's not a
Not
very
even 100
big, it's
feet.
not a very big
And the
distance.
village doesn't want to issue tickets because of that.
You can't blame them, they probably, you know.
Okay.
So that would be the two roads I would suggest at this particular moment.
Forest Road and Scunnamunk.
I have a question for our attorney. Is this changing town code?
Yeah,
Or
the
is-
board will need to set a public hearing to amend the town code to add these two streets to the existing code concerning the 18,000 pound restriction. And we would just need to know for that purpose if it's the entire length of the roadway or exactly, you know, where the borders are, if you will, of where the weight restriction will start in the town.
Okay.
Can we schedule that for August, Supervisor?
Yeah, we can provide you with the draft law with plenty of time if you want to put it on the next meeting for the public hearing, and then it, you know, could be adopted that night as well.
Okay. So,
Table.
No,
we
we
gotta
have to set a public
we have to
hearing.
set a public hearing.
Yes.
So, we'll set the public hearing. The next meeting is August 9th. No. No, it's not August 9th? No. It is August 13th. The 9th is a Thursday.
Yes.
Or is it the 6th, Mary Ellen?
I gotta go. You have the 13th. 13th.
13th, okay.
At 7:30?
Let's set it for 7 o'clock.
I wouldn't set it earlier. It's probably going to be very short. I mean, if you're going to set it early, I'd say 7:15 at the earliest.
Okay. All right, so let's set it for 7:15.
Yeah, and that'll be to amend Chapter 51 of the Town Code.
Okay. So, make a motion to set a public hearing for 7:15 on August 13th to amend Chapter 51 of the Town Code.
I'll second.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're making it.
You second that.
Tony made the,
Brian, would you?
I just had a question for John. Forest Road right now is
in here.
Is in the code. So is this?
That is Forest Ave and Forest Road.
Are they
Forest
different?
Road would be part of Curious Joel. Forest Ave would actually be town of Monroe.
So this
coming
is
into the village.
Forest Avenue that we're adding?
Yes, Forest
Okay,
Avenue.
Got it.
And Scunnamunk.
And Scunnamunk, yes.
Okay.
Which I believe that's Scunnamunk Street. So.
Yeah. Okay.
you could double check.
All right. Any, who seconded it? Mary. Any other discussion? Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so move.
And there's also a parking ordinance that we have on the books, which is 2 or more inches of snow, no parking on any town roads. We was hoping to change that over to no parking on any town roads from October 15th through April 15th. So that would have to be done the same night, I believe, which is an easy fix as well.
But that's for all town roads.
That would be for all town roads and no determination of how much snow's on the road. Because no matter what, the big trucks have to get through, whether it's a quarter of an inch or 20 inches. So it would be better off to have that done like that, just no parking on any town roads from October 15th through April 15th.
All right.
All right, so that's in the same chapter of the
believe
town
so.
code. So if you want, we can have the public hearing on both of those changes, one public hearing. I do know that right now your code indicates that there's no overnight parking at all from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay, which that's fine. I mean, that does help a little bit, but even overnight park, daytime parking sometimes during my daytime storms, so this would just be at least clarified to everybody. I have a lot of street signs out there now that are gonna need replacing anyway, so we might as well just have the simple code, from October 15th to April 15th, and that way when I do replace these street signs, that's gonna be on them, and, we're gonna be, moving forward with
All right,
that.
and what's the restriction then between those periods,
It was,
in other words, what do you want to restrict between November and,
no parking on any town roads, basically, no snow limitations and no nighttime limitations, basically at all. You're not going to be parking on these roads from October 15th to April 15th.
The only issue I have with that, John, is I agree that it can become a burden for you, but there are a lot of people that have holiday celebrations.
Understood.
And people come over the house,
Mhm.
and they're parking on the roads because there's not enough room in the
Right.
driveway. I don't want them to be subject to a fine or a ticket because of that.
Are you saying they can't park on the road at all?
Well,
That time frame? I mean,
from
I
that
don't
time
know.
frame, the village uses that same time frame, and there's always going to be
Yeah, but if you start in
leadway, so to speak.
October, you have Thanksgiving and the Christmas and the holiday season. I mean, overnight is one thing, or from, say, 9 or 10 o'clock, but no parking even in
What
the
if-
daytime?
But here's the other thing,
what about if
who issues the parking tickets? Highway, the highway superintendent.
Yeah,
We have to address that as a separate
Well, yeah,
issue too.
he's working with Brian on that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be giving out tickets?
I don't want to give out tickets, no.
All right. So
But
what about-
and
what about if we
that's
did
not the
this?
question. But
What about-
sometimes there are certain areas and there are certain spots that we always have a continuous problem. And even leaving stickers on people's windows, it just doesn't seem to help. So that those are the people. For the most part, I would knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, listen, you got to move your car. There's a snowstorm."
All right, so what about if we did this during the day? If you left that caveat of the 2 inches during the day, and the
Right.
overnight, it'll stay the same.
That could be done. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, you don't have a problem with
I
that?
don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
How you gonna do the sign?
Just we'll have to figure that out. Once we get the wording from from Brian, we'll go from there. We'll do the sign exact wording as that would be.
so you're looking at an overnight restriction then for that?
Yeah,
that
overnight
period.
restriction would be fine.
Inch and 3/4 of snow.
Well, the overnight restriction would be regardless, right?
Regardless.
Yeah.
Get the ruler.
Now,
Regardless. What was the times on that, Brian? From
Well,
10? You said from overnight?
right now, you have no overnight parking 10 to 6 anyway in the code,
Okay.
presumably at all times of the year.
Yeah.
So, you would have that covered unless, right now it's year-round, you'd actually be lifting the restriction. Right now, it says no parking, no overnight parking in the town at all, 10
Okay.
p.m. to 6 a.m.
You can make it 9:30 and leave it at that.
We can keep it right at that and be done with it. Yeah, that's fine. But just
Or
gotta
in
be.
case
I just
of-
gotta be able to enforce it if need be, and that's the main thing.
All right, how about we do this, seriously, how about we talk about this over the next month, and we'll put it together,
That works.
and we can we add it into the public hearing then? Make a motion to add this topic into the public hearing?
Well, you're going to need to do that now if...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right now, yeah.
You can put the topic in and just say that we're going to have a public hearing on amending that code to address overnight parking, and then we're going to have the draft available to the public in advance of the hearing anyway. So as long as we have something to put out there, there's various ways to address it, and the clerk pointed out too that you might want to, I guess the village is November 1st, you may want to just keep it consistent. If we're going to use dates, pick the same time period, so the whole
November.
town.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. All right, so I'll make a motion that we add to the public hearing at 7:15 on August 13th, addressing the overnight parking and daytime parking from November 1st to April 15th.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay.
You want me to keep rolling with a couple more things I got, Tony? I know
Yeah,
it's
go
not
ahead.
on the agenda, we did discuss this.
Yep, go ahead.
I did get a phone call from Mid-Hudson Mac 2 days ago. He was looking for basically a confirmation on a PO for $238,096.34 for that truck.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can
When
get
would
him
you-
a PO or we still have to hold off a little bit.
No, I mean, well, when you give them a PO, is there anything that has to be put down? Is it down?
I don't believe there'll be a down payment for that. I just think it's going to be a PO and then he's guaranteed payment.
All right, and when is the delivery of the truck?
There is no delivery date set as of yet. We will not have that until the PO is in his hand.
Okay. All right, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, they're going to build that truck, so I'm going to say,
We voted, we passed
I'm going
this,
to say 3 months minimum. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the issue becomes is that, you know, that bond is tied into the theater bond.
Correct.
To the Escayam bond. So 3 months would be August, September, October. So tell them 3 to 4 months.
exactly.
Just to
I'm
be safe.
saying minimum of 3 months at least.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't
Okay.
imagine it being any quicker than that. Do you have to vote on that, or is that that's good to go?
No,
Okay.
we're
Already-
changing it.
just-
So
Okay.
We did
just
it
send-
last month.
Yeah, you talk to Helen and get a PO.
Yep, very good, outstanding. As you all know, I had a pretty bad winter, and I went through a lot of overtime, so we had additional monies for overtime in there, and I pretty much went through that, or close to it, and then with my project now on Hilltop Road, you know, I had to have the guys work late as well, and to be honest with you, I could have these guys working 7 days a week if I could. I know we did have some revenues through the KJ contract this year. I would like to see added, I don't have the line number in front of me, at least about $25,000 in the overtime line.
Take it from the KJ revenue.
Whatever
line.
revenue we possibly made, I know we made over that. You know, I'm not sure the exact number. I think we was close to about 80s. When I did my last calculations, it was around 80,000. I think we had revenue on that. But
Okay.
if we could do that, that would be great. At least this way it covers me up until January. And especially with this Hilltop Road project, it's all hands on deck, and I'm down 2 guys, you know,
Yeah.
which you all know for medical.
What's the board's purview here?
If he has the money in that other line, I see no reason not
I-
to switch it over to his overtime line.
I agree, if it needs to get done, we gotta
Yeah.
do it.
All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll
Do
make,
you know what line that was put in, that snow
No,
contract?
I asked Helen today, because John had brought it up, she was going to check into it, because I asked her late in the day, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I
Okay.
talked to Peter a
So,
couple times, but.
Do you want to make a motion, Mary?
yeah, I'll make a motion to allow the transfer of 25,000 from the line that has the KJ profit
Revenue.
over to the highway overtime line.
Okay. I'll second that.
For
The discussion, yeah.
Here's we gotta be very careful with overtime because, and I know you have no control of the snow, and when the snow comes this year, it just wouldn't stop. But, we gotta be very careful with the overtime because we're taking funds from one side to another, and I don't want the town to be, come up short in another couple of years on this, so. Just as long as you keep a careful eye on it. I
we
know
do.
the guys are working, and I know you're working, so I don't have a problem with that, but it's just that we always have to keep a, critical eye on overtime.
No, we had a little kitty in there that was doing pretty good, but this snow killed us this
Yeah,
year.
it was a bad winter.
Yeah,
It was a
so-
bad winter, so.
And listen, I'm not saying I'm gonna spend 25,000, I'm just saying I have it there right now in case we need it.
Understood.
You know.
And just so you know, Rick, the Hilltop project, there's a reason for the overtime because these guys are putting 1,200 foot of curbs in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And it has to cure before they could backfill it, and they can't wait till the next day to backfill it, because then it slows them down. So,
And then we're
It's
gonna
all,
have.
it's all part of the construction
yeah,
process.
Exactly, I had to get the driveways done, at least so people can walk in their driveways.
Yeah.
And not even drive into
Right,
it.
I saw the
And
work
then-
that was done.
right.
in Hilltop.
And then once we reclaim, we might need a little bit more there, and once we blacktop, we might need a little bit more there, depending on the schedules. But the curbs are done as we they're done. They're
No,
back
great
filling
job.
house.
I mean, I see the guys doing the work, and they're doing a great job.
We're
so.
moving forward for sure.
All right.
But thank you. I appreciate it.
We got a call.
Okay. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Okay, so, next is, we have a quote before us. This is a specialized item. It's a clutch-driven roller shade system. It's got a 97% essentially screen factor with a solar weave in it. It's on a stainless steel chain. It's a 1.5-inch roller, white and beige. 4 of them for a cost of $454 at $35 freight. This is for the theater. We have an issue with the screening rooms.
The heat that builds
The
up in there.
heat that builds up in there, and the sun coming in those windows is a contributing factor to it. So in addition to getting the AC corrected, this will also help reduce the temperature in there. I just found out 2 weeks ago that and George, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, those projectors monitor the temperature gauge, monitor with the temperature gauge, the temperature in those rooms. And in some respects, it could void the warranty on those machines.
Wow.
So I think it's important that we get this done. It's $489.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second that. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay.
You gotta put some shade on there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a shady move. Next item, controlled substance and alcohol testing policy training. Discuss and approve the development and implementation of a controlled substance and alcohol testing policy for employees of the town of Monroe who are covered under applicable DOT testing requirements. This policy is developed by public sector HR consultants, which is on retainer with us. They will discuss and approve training to be provided to supervisors to meet the requirements. This includes 60 minutes of training on alcohol misuse, 60 minutes of training on controlled substance use. The training shall include physical, behavioral, speech, and performance indicators of probable alcohol misuse and use of controlled substances. Training will be provided by public sector HR consultants. This is scheduled for Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the theater. It's going to cost us approximately $750 plus travel for HR consultants. So I would need a motion for this.
I'll make that. I'd like to make that motion.
Rick makes that motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. One thing is I have asked the surrounding town supervisors and their highway supervisors, along with any other pertinent people that they thought might feel a need, could use the program. I've asked them they're welcome to sit in on it. I asked Chester, Blooming Grove, Town of Woodbury, Village of Woodbury, Village of Monroe, Village of Harriman, and Village of KJ.
No.
So.
Good. No, I think it's very important, very important. So wholeheartedly.
How often do they have to be tested?
This is more of a creating an awareness for supervisors, and I believe from what I was told, it's a state regulation that there has to be training on this. Because if there's a situation where someone does show the signs of alcohol and you question them and you're not trained in it, it could basically throw the case out.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if you want to add anything, counsel?
No, I'm not actually sure of the regulation that was referring to, but I know I'm not sure that that's what a regulation says. I've not heard of that.
Well, maybe it's not a regulation. Maybe it's it was the way he described it was if you are, there's some sort of sensitivity training required within it, and he said if you are not trained in it and make an accusation and bring, charges or cause against someone, you're basically, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a consequence, I guess.
Yeah, consequence, yeah.
I don't know if there's a statutory thing, but that would just be that, like anything, if you're falsely accusing somebody or, you're
Yeah.
not accurate, because there are other things that can appear as intoxication, like diabetic conditions, I've seen that happen.
Right, okay. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Motion, I think that was it on the agenda.
Yep.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss contracts and personnel.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Yeah, that's, no. Okay. Seconded,
Yes, I second,
call the
yes.
question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
Not 11 o'clock yet, but we'll get...
No, we're out of here in
No, we're
5
not
minutes,
bad.
don't worry.
All right, never.
Okay, motion, I'll make a motion to come back into the regular meeting from executive session.
Cologne, the second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. I'd like to make a motion to abolish the controller's position.
I'll second.
Any discussion? The only thing I'll say is that, Peter has been relieved of his controller's duties as of today, with pay. And as of tomorrow, we will be hiring a consultant, which will be the next motion.
Supervisor, just for the record,
And-
the town board has a resolution before it abolishing the position of controller, so we're
Okay.
adopting the resolution.
We're adopting that resolution.
Yeah, if you want, I could quickly, it's just a couple of sections. The town board hereby abolishes the office of town controller effective immediately. The town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to carry out the terms of the resolution or to designate the appropriate town officials and employees and special counsel to do same in accordance with law. And lastly, the duties, responsibilities, and powers previously conferred upon the office of town controller shall be imposed upon the town board, the town supervisor, and the town clerk in accordance with law effective the date of this resolution. So that's
July 9th.
essentially the motion.
Okay. So do we have a second on that?
I seconded.
Seconded by Councilwoman Bingham.
Just,
Can I say something quick?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
I just would like to thank Peter for his time as town councilman and controller over the years. I know that he did maintain a good work ethic, long hours, and that for that his time here is appreciated, and we thank you. Mike?
No, you said it all, that's perfect, thanks.
Okay. All right. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Next is, we need a motion to approve Mike Lewis as a consultant to get us audit ready, working with our finance department, Roberta and Helen. His rate is $100 an hour, and the subsequent hours will be determined once he has reviewed some of the financials that we have submitted to him, that we will submit to him tomorrow. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second by Cologne.
Second by Councilman Cologne. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Next up, we'd like to, Helen Knickerbocker and Roberta McBride will be handling the Moodnet account. They will be attending meetings, preparing budgets, doing financial reports for the Moodnet Commission, and within the amount of money that comes from Moodnet to the town of Monroe, I would like to make a motion to offer them a stipend each per year of $1,250.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Councilman McGinn. I actually should have let you make the motion, Mike, because it was your idea. So
No, that's right.
I apologize.
That's fine, no worries.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. You want to make this motion?
Oh, wait, do you want to do Group M first?
What's that?
You want to do Group M first?
Okay, yeah, right. All right. In addition, I would like to, the town would like to engage in the services of the M Group. Brian and I will discuss a couple of parts of the contract that we would like to adjust, and then based on his approval, I would like someone to make a motion to approve the N Group as the consultant for outsourced accounting services going forward and beginning sometime in the month of August.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn,
McGinn,
aye.
aye. Yeah. Yep.
I'd like to make a motion for the Shirley Torres School, to have that issue be reviewed by the attorney, so we can get back to the board, so we can make a final determination on that.
I'll second.
Any other details we need to discuss, council, or?
Negative.
Okay. All right. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Begin?
McGinn, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Yeah. Are you doing that for me? or-
Yeah, I'm just-
Are you?
I'm tired.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you sound like him, too.
Yeah, McGinn, aye.
McGinn, aye. Okay. I think that is it. These are just notes I have. Is there anything I missed?
You got it all?
I think that's it.
That's all, folks.
Think we got it all? Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight, appreciate it. I'll make a motion to adjourn,
I'll second by Cologne.
second by Cologne. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Nugent, aye.